In Clark County, Nevada, a man showing up in court wearing a sweater of a rapper wearing a sweater has his attorney plead for probation, but when denied, does this.
I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court
Now, the Twitter replies are blaming the bailiff for their terrible blitz coverage, with others asking if the attack just happened to change the judge's mind, but also just highlighting what an impressive vertical leap he made straight into prison. Because I believe I found the same exact Nevada courtroom, and although this judge was there 5 years ago, the judge's desk is at her eye level, and looking up her stats, she's apparently over 6'6". Okay, so maybe I doctored that image and ESPN doesn't indeed track the measurements of local judges, but it still doesn't change the fact that this guy was able to sprint 10 yards, hurdle a 5-foot tall desk, and all before the defense could even step in, which leads me to my likely unpopular opinion that this guy needs to get life in prison, as this did occur in deep blue Clark County, which very well could mean he could be out in 15 years anyway. But honestly, with someone as violent and impulsive as this idiot, I personally would not want him to be anywhere near my own grandmother, and just because he happens to not live by my family doesn't mean he won't be by other families, other innocent old women that won't be surrounded by the sheriffs. Because let's be clear, this felonious fella has to know that there is absolutely zero ways that attacking the judge can be a net positive for him. But this 30-year-old man-child has such little control of his impulses that he just can't help himself, and that is a very dangerous person to let roam free in society. So is it callous and sad to sentence a man to life inside a cage? In a way, yes, but I just think it's more callous and sad to sacrifice the next victim to the man that we know has absolutely zero control over his violent impulses, to woman. And the sad part is, even on ultra-left Reddit, they talk about this being a first-degree felony, putting him up for 30 years in prison. But when you look at the local CBS Vegas affiliate, they report on him being a 3-time felon, where he had previous charges for malicious destruction of property, serving prison time for domestic battery, and most recently, threatened to bust the kneecaps of a guy, which resulted in substantial bodily harm. So he was ordered to get a competency determination where he was just sent to a state behavioral facility, and after being deemed competent, and after skipping out on his court date, he was finally in front of a judge to be sentenced. But after asking for probation instead of prison, the judge stated, "I think it's time he get a taste of something else." That's when he jumped the desk and pummeled the sheriff. He's now getting charges of battery on a protected person, which in Vegas is apparently just a category B felony with a minimum of 2 years in prison. Now obviously, compounding his laundry list of unlawfulness, he's getting incarcerated for longer than a couple years, but my concern is, at what point in time did the justice system obviously know that he is simply not fit for freedom? But let's just roll the dice to see if anyone else gets hurt, because apparently no one in their justice system has the stomach for long prison sentences. But as we know, kindness to criminals is just cruelty to victims. And sad to say, the seemingly only way this guy will actually get the book thrown at him is if he went after the wrong victim. The judge, with all her security, power, and protected class status, only she can really show him what happens when the justice system actually cares. Because I recall this upscale mall in Los Angeles that I used to work nearby. It was constantly getting hit with those smash and grabs, substance issues, and even I was personally attacked by an insane person there. But nothing really motivated the coppers to actually do anything to protect the people, until an off-duty cop got robbed with his wife in the parking lot. Then the next day, that place was packed with all sorts of special police details, bike cops, horsey cops, all sorts of things to let the criminals know. Okay, now we are motivated to suddenly stop this. And sad to say, this was just one single instance of the lawlessness that plagues Los Angeles, and after over a decade of living there, I had to leave for nothing other than my own safety. And although I now live in a quiet college town with similar amenities to the city, I still feel somewhat homesick, but not for the city that I just abandoned, but for a place that no longer exists. And to see a place like Nevada, that once was conservative, but has been leaning more and more liberal since 2008, I'd hate to see a place like Las Vegas become the next Los Angeles, as LA is basically the new San Francisco, and the Bay is basically the new Detroit. And I'll never understand how voters can look at a place like Detroit and think, Yeah, let's adopt those policies for our city, because that approach to the justice system made their citizens so safe. Their residents may be afraid to drink their tap water like some sort of third world country, but why not roll the dice? Because apparently that's easier than thinking. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status of today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out the video on how places like Southeast Asia have absolutely zero tolerance for unemployed behavior.